In this video, we will learn how should we use the Excel to do the regression analysis. So the data set I'm using is about the number of TV ads and the number of cars sold. And the company want to know the impact of the TV ad, the number of the TV ads on the number of the cars sold. So which means the TV ads is our X variable, which is the variable we will use to predict what happened on car sold. So car sold, the number of cars sold is our Y variable. So now, before we use the regression analysis function of Excel, we need to add some package to our Excel, which by default is not installed in your Excel. So first, find the files. No matter what version you are using, what version of Excel you are using, you always can find the File tab. Click the File tab. Then find there is on the bottom you will find options and click options. Once you click options, you will see the window called Excel options, and find on the left hand side bar there is one option called add-ins, and click add-ins. And once you click add-ins, and then look at the bottom of this window, there is called manage Excel add-ins. So find this dialog first, and then there is a button next to this window called Go, and click Go. And once you click Go, you will see this called add-ins. So it's very important that you need to make sure the analysis toolpath is checked. By default, if you just install the Excel or you never use the analysis toolpath, you need to come here to set up your Excel. So check Excel toolpath, and then click OK. So what will happen is now if you click the Data tab on the Excel, you will see one area called the Data Analysis. So here is very important. You need to have this button, Data Analysis. Without it, you cannot do any analysis. So now let's look at our data set. In order to do the regression analysis, you need to know what is the Y variable and what is X variable. I already helped you to identify it. So the car sold is the variable you want to predict. So that's Y variable. And the number of ads is the variable you will use to predict the number of cars sold. So the TV ads is our X variable. So now what we will do is click the Data Analysis tab button. So once you click the Data Analysis under the Data tab, and you will have this window called the Data Analysis. Then you will find there is many different options, and what we will use here is called regression. As we mentioned, as you know, this chapter is about regression model, so it's very easy to find this command called regression. So after you find regression, click OK. So now you will have the regression the windows. And as I mentioned before, for the Excel, you always make up by two parts, the input and output. So the input is tell the Excel where is your original data set. Try to think about when we created a histogram, we have the similar area called input. And the output options. The output options is you need to let Excel know what kind of output you want the Excel to generate. So the output options. So now let's fill in all those blanks. First, for the input, which is telling the Excel where is the data set. So the first he asks is where is the input Y range. So as we know, the input Y is our car sold. So you need to choose the D1 to D6. So first, there is a little icon on the side of the this option box. Then click this little icon. Then the whole window shrinks to this tiny window because you can start to select the data set. Please select from D1 to D6, including the name for the column car sold. Then click this little icon again. It will return you to the original windows. Then the X input, the input X range, which is our TV ads. So click this little icon, and select from C1 to C6. Again, you need to include the name of the column, the TV ads. Then, if you look at the first row, the first cell for each variable, that is our name or the label for each column. It is not a data set. So you need to make sure, remember, check labels. If you don't check this one, you cannot get the correctly results. And now, here you can adjust the confidence level. So normally we are just asking for the 5%, the alpha equal to 5%, or confidence level is 95%. But sometimes the question can ask you 90%. So if you want to change to 90%, you just check this box and change it to 90%. So we don't do the 90%, we just do the common one. So we will use by default the 95%. So if you don't check the box, the default the confidence interval level is 95%. And now we finish the input area. Now we start to work on the output options. Again, I prefer you place your result in a new page, new worksheet. So let's name the new worksheet called regression. And at the same time, you can look at it. You have option about residuals, and I ask you to choose residual, standardized residual, residual plot, and the line fitted plot. So you will, and also at the end, normal probability plot. So all these 5 output will help us to do the model validation, which is our last part of this chapter. So here I require you to check all of 5. Now you can click OK. The first you should notice on the first change you should notice on Excel is before we only have sheet 1, now we have regression, and that is the worksheet we just created, and all the result is placed on this new worksheet called regression. So you should have 3 different plots and a bunch of different data set output. So after you got this data output, what I usually do is I will try to format my Excel output so that I make sure the decimal places meet the requirement. So normally people keep 4 decimal places. So right after you choose the output area within the dataset, right click the mouse and find format cells. Then go to number, and here you can tell Excel how many decimal places you want. Normally I keep 4, so click OK. So now you can find all the dataset the data output is equal, the decimal places is 4, and some of the data are highlighted. So what you can do is select from A column to the I column, and when the mouse change to this kind of symbol, you can left double click the mouse. So the cell will adjust based on the content. So that is how should we use the Excel to do the regression analysis. So in our next video, I will help you to identify different parameters value in this Excel output. Make sure you will go back to look at the slides, since the data set from the slides and the output already pasted on the slides.